Ethnic Black Americans are delineating not out of desperation or desire, but truly to prevent ourselves from becoming the default Black, which we are increasingly becoming. That said, in 2025 and 2026, especially in light of the Black fatigue, ethnic Black Americans like myself have truly reached a sort of like, okay, we need to regroup, reevaluate, because even though we have love for our diaspora cousins and we know that, yes, being unified under the idea of, being Black and Black is beautiful is great and we'll always have that, we need distinctions. We just need distinctions and I do think it starts with going from African American to Black American. Now, personally, I don't have an issue with being called an African American because my DNA has African ancestry. But I am a child of a slave. I have no connection to Africa, truly. And I do think that while African American is a term that, yes, it pays homage to our African ancestry and it is important and it is historically accurate, it is not culturally or even really genetically the most accurate to us who are Black Americans. We are Black first and we are American second, and we are Black American in totality. For most of American history, African American worked because for most of American history, really until the late 1960s, those of us who descend from American chattel slavery and are Black, we were the largest demographic of people to have African ancestry and large amounts of African ancestry. That said, because America is it should be a more inclusive place and a place in which all of our other diaspora cousins have also found refuge or a place to set up homes and create, culture of their own and lanes and opportunity for themselves and their own people and their peoplehood, African American is now a term not of ancestry, but one of dilution, if that makes sense. This delineation is truly a result of the ethno-racial hierarchy that we currently, all of us Black people are currently trying to survive in the 21st century. But specifically, as we approach the mid-21st century and soon to be the 22nd century, our delineation is truly the natural step in the preservation of our peoplehood. Also because many immigrants from other parts of the Black diaspora often don't share the same sort of like historical strife as those of us who descend from American chattel slavery, delineation or that distinction is crucial because it prevents a sort of like conglomerate mindset that many people in this country would adopt when it comes to sort of like identifying the Black vote or identifying the Black way or how Black people in America, sort of progress or achieve things. Black Americans historically have identified a sort of like voting bloc mindset because of our, historic confrontation with American law through segregation or Jim Crow or, Brown v. Board of Education. And so that's another major part of it. Also, in the Trump 2.0 era, things are overly simplified. And with that oversimplification comes a sort of erasure or a visualization of Black being one thing or monolithic and a very consequential period in which if you're not white, you're considered an enemy of the state. Our delineation is a consequential result of the very serious times that we're living in. So our delineation is a consequential natural part of the progressive pipeline in terms of protecting ourselves from people who refuse to see nuance or the importance or the significance in our distinctions. If you said African American even as late as the 1990s, people knew that you meant the children of the slave, ADOS. But as we approach the mid-21st century, I do think that African American is now becoming a polite signifier of just anybody who is Black. Today, African American can be meant to include people who are perhaps the children of recent African immigrants or from other parts of the African diaspora. And I do think that in calling us Black American or Sulan or FBA, Foundational Black Americans, I just want to make it clear that we're not delineating from color. Yes, most Black Americans should be proud of the fact that we are Black and we are a part of the diaspora. I do think that ethnic Black Americans are situating ourselves to be known as we are Black, not just Black in America, but no, we are Americans that are Black, forged out of survival, segregation, and struggle. America is a country that truly was built on the premise of ethnicity, not only ensuring your protection and your survival, but your place in society. As unfortunate as it is, that's just the American game. I didn't make the game rules, that just surviving those that my ancestors did. That said, with our delineation, various distinctions are also worth noting. So, for instance, if we take Americans, Black Americans specifically, when it comes to politics in this country, traditionally, Black Americans vote Democrat. hence the 92 percenters and large amounts of ethnic Black Americans consistently turning out for Black American politicians that are in the Democratic Party, or just politicians in general that represent our interests. And within the last 50 years, that just tends to be the Democratic Party. We vote because we are a strategic block of people. We know the ebbs and flows of this country instinctively, intuitively, culturally, even genetically. Therefore, that's what equates to many ethnic Black Americans voting blue no matter who. But that sentiment, that ideologue, that ideology is not something that is shared with most of our diaspora cousins. Now, granted, I understand that not every ethnic Black American is going to vote Democrat. You've got those of us who are definitely children of the slaves, and third eye, voting is just, it's theater, it's performative. I mean, at the end of the day, they still aren't going to have Black Americans, though, overall vote consistently and overwhelmingly for the Democratic Party. That is just a cultural hallmark associated with us because we know how politics works. And as a group of people that our existence is truly because of politics, we are a political being in our existence in America. That's just something that we kind of do. However, that's not a sentiment that is shared with many more recent immigrants that are Black from the African diaspora. More often than not, I will see many TikTokers or just people in my personal life or from interviews or from, people on Jubilee who, yes, because they are Black, we're all Black, but they're not ethnic Black Americans, oftentimes placate or push a message of progressive politic that does not look like that of ADOS, of FBA, of those of us who have survived this country and have a generational track record of it. That said, you'll often see from many of these voices a sort of like hostile message against many Democratic politicians, or, encouraging, other Black people and other Black Americans who may not know that they're being fed this messaging from someone who does not have the historical strife track record as themselves. This sort of like anti-democratic, burn the system down, or, Kamala is just, no better than Trump and all of this. And I can almost guarantee you most ethnic Black Americans do not feel that way. We just don't. We may not always be the most informed or politically savvy, but at the end of the day, we roll up the sleeves and we get to work and we go to the polls and we vote for who we know we need to vote for in order to keep this show on the road. Like, chop, chop. A lot of people from the diaspora who don't have that American survival story encoded in their DNA just don't come to the voting ballot with that same just almost instinctive, intuitive drive or ability to distinguish. Now, I'm not saying that that's wide brushed or across all people of the diaspora. Overwhelmingly Black people, even from immigrant backgrounds, will vote Democrat, and they know, hey, we're going to vote for the least racist between the two candidates. But I've noticed a trend specifically among younger first or second generation people from immigrant backgrounds in the diaspora. They don't often share that same commitment. Black Americans and our status as foundational Americans is something that not only ensures our, preservation of our culture and our protection of it, it also is important in terms of protecting ourselves from outside forces or other immigrants or other minorities from perhaps using the Black American experience to peddle a message that is not only antithetical to the Black American experience, but it's harmful to it because of a lack of understanding and cultural awareness. Before you come for me, truly my college thesis was on Black millennial voting patterns. So I have researched this long before I even decided to, record this for TikTok. And I also took several race and law classes in law school and so forth. So I do know a little bit of something.
Interesting, because I got a call from the Foundational Black American Society here in Florida, who reminded me that Byron's mother is Jamaican, he is Panamanian, and they found it quite insulting, in their words, that he would try to claim victimhood of slavery without a single descendant of American slaves in his family.
I like those foundational guys.
They're so good.
Rick Nasheed and all. I mean, I don't agree with everything, but they've got a perspective. If your family's been here 400 years, and the descendants of a lot of American slaves or families have been here 400 years, I don't know. I think that gives... I'll listen to you. You've got,
100%.
You've got a point of view that is legitimate, I think.
Yeah. And they're unequivocally heritage Americans.
That's for sure.
100%.
They're definitely heritage Americans, if anyone is. And, someone rolls in from Ghana and gets an MSNBC slot and starts speaking on behalf of Black people. It's shut up, honey.
At this point, it's undeniable that Black Americans are a true ethnic group here in America. Delineation is very much needed. You cannot move here 2 years ago, 2 months ago, and identify as a Black American when you don't come from the lineage of people who built America with free labor. Black Americans can prove our existence in America pre-1865, before the end of the Civil War. Matter of fact, we can go to the very first United States federal census. Black Americans were documented. On that paperwork, we have a paper trail of our ethnic group, and the Office of Management and Budget needs to acknowledge us as a specific ethnicity.
Okay, Ethnic Black America, foundational, indigenous, key life. Let's talk about consequences. So, delineation is the consequence of other groups coming here and talking ish about us and not appreciating all of the resources we share with them, all of the human rights that we share with them, the extension and the openness of our culture that we extended with them. And delineation is a consequence of that. And a lot of people don't like accountability. They don't like consequences. But let's move a step forward. Let's talk about the Democrats, the Republicans. Let's talk about Asians and Hispanics. The consequences of Hispanics being disrespectful and being racist is us not helping them against ICE. Okay. The consequences for the Democrats of them not listening to our demands or what our needs were as a community, like reparations, like policies specifically for ethnic Black Americans, policies specifically for us, is that a lot of us our votes are starting to defect. Like, we're not voting for them anymore, or we're not voting for what they're offering anymore. Now, we need more of us to defect, but we did enough where they could not win that last election. In terms of Republicans, I kind of feel like the Republicans are quietly switching over to other groups, because with the police brutality thing, they don't want to talk about it, but there's a lot of lawsuits. A lot of police officers, a lot of government agencies are losing money from all these lawsuits because, okay, even though when you fight in the criminal justice system, we may win some, lose some. But in a lot of the civil court cases, a lot of the civil matters, they're losing, and they're having to do large, huge payouts to sums. And that bottom line hits people. A lot of people are like, we don't want to pay out all that money, millions and millions upon millions of dollars over and over and over again for all of these hate crimes. So for the Republicans and MAGA who piss us off, we need to sue. We need to do lawsuits. So it's consequence time. Ethnic Black Americans, people took our kindness as a weakness. And, actually, white Americans kind of knew that we're not to play with us too much. They play with us a lot, but they know once there's a tipping point, like, we will wild out. We will ruin their corporate. I don't care what they want to say. Those riots cost them a lot of money. They can say, oh, you're in your own neighborhoods and stuff like that. But if you keep saying we don't own our neighborhoods and we don't own the stores, then again, how are we hurting ourselves? If everybody owns something else in our neighborhoods, then if we're destroying our own neighborhoods, doesn't matter then, because we really aren't hurting ourselves that much if we are destroying our own neighborhoods, if you keep saying that we don't own our neighborhoods. So if nobody owns houses in our neighborhoods, nobody owns the businesses in our neighborhoods or whatever, and we don't run our own neighborhoods, so to speak, then if we have riots in our own neighborhoods, we're not hurting ourselves that much. We're hurting ourselves to some degree where we have to be displaced. But it seems like we would be hurting all of the people who are in our neighborhoods making money off of us, right? So no matter what they say, they don't like riots, because riots cost money. The city has to clean up, the state has to clean up, the corporations have to clean up, landlords who own our property buildings, they have to figure stuff out. They don't like it. So listen, it's FAFO time. And delineation is one of the most powerful moves that we've made so far. And what we also have to do is we got to keep anybody who's doing any type of hate crime, we need to sue the ish out of them. If Hispanics want to talk ish about us and call us the N-word and call us all types of what, we just let them hanging themselves out to dry. We're not going to help them against the white supremacist power structure that don't like them anyway. Okay. All of the African and Caribbean people who we need to exclude them out of our culture completely. Like, if it is Black American History Month, we need to demand that corporations and everybody do not support them, or else we will not support them. And we've got the numbers. I mean, we're 40 million strong. So we will not support any of those type of things. And we need to get stronger in that. If they want to claim that they invented hip hop, then we need to exclude them specifically from any type of creation that we do, any type of events that's ours specifically. If they want to start trying to take credit for our creations, we need to completely exclude them out of the situation. If politically they won't give us reparations, or they speak down against reparations and won't do anything specifically for Black Americans, like Kamala said, then we will not vote for them whatsoever. It is consequence time. It is accountability time. And everybody needs to get on code. And a tipping point, 3.5% is enough to tip the scales. So if there's 40 million of us, we only need about, what is that? About 13, 14 million, maybe a little bit more of us to get on code for things to change. We don't need 40 million. We need 3.5%, and 3 times 4 is 12. And then the 0.5, I haven't done that in my head. What is that? 0.5 is 2. So like, what is that? 14 million. So we can get 14 million of us to get on code, and then the rest will follow. Okay. You saw what happened to Aiden Ross. You talk about ethnic Black American women, we shut it down. Now, maybe we have some disagreements with what Doechii says in certain things, but we need to deal with that with ourselves. We can't allow other people to come in and use the fact that we have an issue with one of our people and use racism and use racism as an excuse to tear down one of our own to that degree. Now, if somebody's wilding all the way out, that's a little different. You know what I'm saying? But it's consequence time. It's accountability time. It's time for us to put our foot down and do what we need to do to get everybody in check, because they really have us all the way effed up. They have us all the way effed up. If Asians want to talk ish about us, then they need to leave our communities. We don't need to have their businesses in our communities. And you have zoning committees. We get to decide who comes into our communities. If you go to those votings, like some places have they have zoning where you have to vote on whether certain people can set up shops in your communities. So go to those zonings. If they're in your communities, go to those zoning communities or boards or whatever to approve having shops and certain things and business in their community, and say no. Say no. It is time for people to understand the wrath of the ethnic Black American. And we were kind-hearted and good, but people, the spirit is showing us that these people didn't deserve that. These groups did not deserve all the sacrifices that we made, all the help that we gave. It's time. It's time. Delineation, take back our situations. If people want to be racist and try to step on us as a stepping stone to get white adjacency, then we're going to take the stool right underneath them. And what happens when you take a chair or a stool right underneath somebody who's trying to step up? They fall down. Let them fall down and pick themselves up, this time in America by themselves. If they want to say the reason they're doing so well is because of this, that, and the other, and they don't understand they are doing well because of us, then let's take the stepping stool, let's take the chair out from underneath them and let them do it on their own. If y'all think y'all did it on your own and you're just so hardworking and all this stuff, then you don't need us, and we need to focus on ourselves. You don't need our business. You don't need our culture. You don't need our support. You don't need our help. You don't need any of that, right? All right, go do it on your own. Stop setting up in our communities. Stop asking us to help you with stuff. Stop asking to come to our community. Stop copying our music. Stop doing all this stuff that you are taking from us. Just stop it. Do it on your own with your own community and your own groups.
I'm not mean. I just don't like you. Like, there's no hidden anything. You be being weird. I don't like that. I'm cool. I be chilling. I be vibing. I be I just don't fuck with you.
So you mean to tell me that when the slave ships dropped off Haitians, we considered them Haitians? We call them Haitians. They want to be called Haitians, we call them Haitian. When they dropped off Jamaicans in Jamaica, they want to be called Jamaicans, we call them Jamaicans. When they dropped off Trinidadians, we call them Trinidadians. That's what they want to be called. We're going to respect that because we got respect for people. That's what they want to be called. But when we got dropped off, we can't call ourselves something differently, even though we all were dropped off around the same time. I mean, about 400, 500 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So long ago. So if we have a name now, because we want the language to be correct. So we got a name now. It's FBA. Who's to judge us? Why is this judgment? We FBA.
Hello guys, hope you are doing well and welcome back. And if it's the first time that you are coming across this phase, my name is Rin Jambi, and in today's episode we'll look into this episode whereby now the Black Americans, they are opting for the delineation. Something deeper has been this is what they want now to be recognized. Maybe this is what they want now to be recognized in the United States of America, that they are the people who are shaped by the struggles, by the history, and by the culture, and by all these, the identities they want their identity to be outlined very well, that there will be no confusion of who they are. And once now you have come now across the history of the Black Americans, you'll understand much about them, you'll understand them. And by all these, I hope that we will all learn about other people's culture, because by this we will respect the races, we will respect people regardless of what they are doing. We will not judge one person, we will not judge the whole community because of the act of one person. And I think that is what now they have come up with this thing of like they want a delineation in United States of America, whereby they want to feel like they recognize all, they matter, and this is what they have been fighting for a long time. And for these and many stories, we've been the videos. We have the videos that we have played in this channel, and we owe the credit to the owners of these videos. They are there for us to learn, and we'll come back with more commentary. And in that comment section, kindly tell us something, subscribe, yes, share and like, and we are learning by all these, so we'll come back for more.
Going back to the whole thing about what would Dr. King do, what would Malcolm X do, I think they would be on our side.
Pretty much.
I know they would be on our side.
Yeah.
I know they would understand, given the situation that we're in today, which is different from what they were in, given the knowledge that we have, which was different from what they had access to.
Correct.
They would understand and be on our side. We're not switching from the side of justice, okay?
No.
We are not switching. We are making the adaptations that are necessary.
Definitely think they would be on the side of delineation.
I mean, look at what they
Malcolm X
said.
and
Look at what Malcolm said about the white liberal. Look at what
Right.
Martin told Harry Belafonte. I may have integrated our people into a burning house.
Right.
He was cool until he started saying, I don't want that war in Vietnam. And when we come to D.C., we're coming to get our check. They said, no, you ain't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's real though.
They hit him with that unaliver.
There's been a lot of disrespect recently against Black Americans. And this has been normal, but it's been a lot recently. And I feel like we're partially to blame for it because we're the only people in the diaspora that don't take pride in our ethnicity. We're the only members of the diaspora that only take pride in being Black. And this is why our culture is the most disrespected in the entire world. We're the most Pan-African out of everyone else in the diaspora. Everyone else claims the country that they come from. We're the only ones that don't. And so if you're a Black American, you cannot complain about how much the world disrespects us if you do not take pride in your ethnicity. From now on, if you are a Black American, you need to start showing some type of pride in being an FBA, a foundational Black American. Because the reason why the world disrespects us is because we don't respect ourselves. Nigerians take pride in being from Nigeria. Jamaicans take pride in being from Jamaica. Haitians throw a Haitian flag in their bio. We're the only ones that don't take pride in where we come from. And it's also Black History Month. So this is the best time to start doing it.
Somalis are from Africa.
We know.
Yes, we are. We
I
are
said
part
we
of
know.
Africa.
I know that.
Yes,
But I thought you
don't
guys
know what
African
the
American
problem is.
too.
Okay, hold on. So Paris,
Can I say something?
what is your ethnicity?
My ethnicity is Somali.
What is your tribe?
Isaac.
Okay, so you're not Black. How the fuck are you Black?
I am not black.
You're not Black?
What defines black in
Well,
your
hold on. No. Now mute your goddamn
Well,
mic,
what is-
sir.
what is black? Black.
Paris,
What
are
is
you
black
Black,
to
Paris?
you?
Are you Black,
You're-
Paris?
No, I have Somali parents. I am not black.
Finally, you
Somali
got
parents.
something. Finally.
I am not part of.
Hey,
I am
Baba
not
Stan,
part
listen,
of the-
and listen, and this the thing, Paris, look. You have another Somalian on stage. He's trying to emulate and want to identify as Black, knowing that Somalians, that Africa, the continent.
Okay, what is
But
black
listen,
to you?
that
What is
continent,
black?
that
Well, we're
continent doesn't
both, though.
identify.
That's the thing.
That continent doesn't identify themselves or their culture as a color description. They don't do that.
I identify
Like you
myself as
said,
Somali.
Paris, you stand on your ethnicity, which is Somalian. That's how you do. You don't identify as a
Yes.
color. So
Yes, I don't.
what's wrong with this ignorant ass Somalian on stage trying to emulate or tie himself to Black people when he has no history, no connection at all to them?
Exactly. Well, yeah. Why you identifying as black? You are Somali or born of Africa?
Damn.
All right, so here's the thing. You probably don't live in America, so you don't know what the American racial structure
It doesn't
is.
matter where you live. Your background,
Is it
heritage,
because the black
your
people
ancestors,
became black because of
Well, this is the
slavery,
thing.
right?
You can't be talking to
your ancestors, your heritage doesn't change. It doesn't matter where you stay.
ask Somali in only Somalis in America know exactly what is in America.
Listen, Somali man. I don't know. I don't see your name. Anyway,
But
Well,
Somali
you
man.
sound
Somali
British, so
man.
you're not even American.
Walalo, we are Somali. We are part
No,
of
no,
the whole.
you're not in America, though.
Okay?
That's the problem.
What?
You
What
don't
is
understand
America
the
got
racial
to do-
structures
listen,
here.
Listen, I'm a Somali girl living in UK. Doesn't mean I'm British. I am Somali.
Well, here's the thing.
On the horn. I am from a part of a Sak tribe. That is it. Why do you have to jump the
Well,
gun? You're
no,
not
no, no.
Arab.
Listen,
Walalo, you're not Arab and you're not black. You're neither. You are what you are. What you see is what you are in the mirror. Period.
okay, I'm black.
No, you're not. Was you enslaved? Was your people enslaved? Was your ancestors?
Do you understand? Do you understand
No,
what
it was
black?
not.
Do you understand?
Black Americans are the reason why your family was able to leave your country and come to a better country and have a better opportunity. Some Africans came here because their families were well off. Let's not act like every
But it's
family
not a
was
lot.
poor.
It's a very small
No, let's not act like every
percentage. The
family
ones
was
that
poor.
the-
They came over here like struggling.
It's
and,
Africa.
Like,
It's a
no.
third world country. This is a first world country.
Yeah, no,
Black
yeah.
Americans are the richest black nation on earth. Like, we got the most degrees as a collective. To come over here and to keep disrespecting us.
I think it's just more so saying some instead of saying everybody.
But you didn't say some when you was trying to paint all Africans as being got all these degrees. You ain't say some. You
Yeah,
try to group
so it
all of them
just-
and try to make it seem like all of them are coming over here and prospering when that's simply not.
So I've talked about how foreign people of color are jealous of the perceived privileges that Black American people have. And based on the feedback in my comments from Black American people, I would like to add some key details to that discussion. The biggest takeaway that I observed from the feedback in that video from Black American people is that foreign people of color absolutely refuse to accept and acknowledge the price that Black people had to pay to have these liberties and privileges. And it's a price that Black American people still pay today. It's a price that was paid in blood, bones, backs, muscles, joints, autonomy, freedom, etc. See, what I've observed being a foreigner myself and being raised in a foreign family, what I've observed is that foreigners are in this silent one-way competition with Black American people as to who is oppressed more. And it's very much like oppression Olympics. Yeah, well, you have that stuff going on in your country. In my country, we have XYZ. In my country, our politicians are all corrupt. In my country, we have famines. In my country, etc., etc. It's like this routine dismissal of the price that Black Americans have to pay to be American. As so many of the commenters in that video pointed out, being Black in America has not been a cakewalk, for lack of a better phrase. It hasn't been something easy. And something else that Black American people also pointed out is that foreigners can choose to migrate to America and move to America because foreign people of color, we have autonomy. We have agency in being able to choose where we live and where we call home. For Black American people, historically, that choice was robbed from them. It was deprived from them because imperial powers traveled to the continent of Africa, kidnapped African individuals by violence and by force, trafficked them to the Americas, and then forced them into chattel slavery for hundreds of years. We cannot underestimate the centuries that Black American people spent as enslaved property in the eyes of the law. Then after that chattel slavery was over, Black Americans then had to spend a subsequent, 2 centuries under Jim Crow and segregation laws still being viewed as inhumane property. Can we please remember that Black American people did not have the right to vote in elections until the 1960s? 1964 specifically. My mother was born in 1966, just for reference, and I'm a 31-year-old millennial. Thank you to all of the commenters who provided that feedback in that video, and please forgive me, the only reason I didn't include these important pieces in my discussion was just for time constraints. But yeah, foreign people of color are envious of Black Americans and absolutely by the same token, refuse to acknowledge the price that Black Americans have had to pay to live in America, and it's a price that they still have to pay. And also refuse to acknowledge that, yes, although we come to America and experience xenophobia, we had agency and we had autonomy and the power of choice in coming to America. That was a privilege that was ultimately deprived from Black Americans. If it were up to Black Americans, they would not have come to America. Again, they were kidnapped by violent imperial powers and then forced into centuries of chattel slavery by force, by violence. All agency, all autonomy, all choice was removed from them. So of course, Black Americans are going to watch foreign people of color come here and get to live in post-Jim Crow, post-segregation America, post-chattel slavery America, and then get to claim, oh yeah, America is this great land of milk and honey, has all these wonderful opportunities that I don't have in my home country. And Black Americans, they don't take advantage of those opportunities. Because let's keep it real, with the existing anti-Blackness that, pervades every society on the planet, foreign people of color thus come to America and view Black Americans as lazy and thuggish for not taking advantage of all the opportunities that exist in America. Well, yeah, we can come to America and immigrate to America in the 90s and the early 2000s and say, yeah, there are opportunities, because we weren't subject to the centuries of oppression that Black Americans were subject to. Yes, our ancestors in our home countries were subject to it, but our ancestors didn't do anything about that oppression, which is why we had to leave our home countries. Black Americans here in America did, and that's why we have freedoms, because of Black Americans. And that's why you see so many foreign people of color feel perfectly comfortable fixing their lips and talking down on Black Americans, because I don't know if the psychology of it, like I've talked to my own family about this, like, is it that you view yourself as white? Is it that you view yourself as, now that you're American, you can oppress someone else, and whom you choose to oppress is Black people? Because as I've observed, foreign people of color never have this energy for the actual white systemic structures and institutions that actually oppress all of us. Foreign people of color, like I've said before, also envy the fact that Black Americans protest and boycott and speak up and fight and advocate in ways that foreign people of color don't do in our own home countries, and then come here and have the audacity to speak out the side of their necks towards Black Americans as if, like, what, you think you're white in this structure? You think you're white in this system? Because I can assure you, we're not. So if you are a foreign person of color living in America who emigrated here, or you're the children or grandchildren of immigrants, please understand and accept quickly that the only reason we were able to have the agency or the autonomy to even migrate to America in the first place is solely because of the work of Black Americans. And Black Americans living in America are American in name only. I can assure you the privileges and the liberties that we wax poetic about do not exist for most Black Americans, and have not existed for Black Americans for centuries.
Africans, the reason why Black Americans are pushing for this delineation process is because they don't want to be picked up by ICE, so ICE don't send them to Africa. Okay, that is why they are pushing so hard, trying to identify themselves, because they are scared. They are scared of being picked up by ICE, so they don't send to Africa. They do not like Africa. They feel Africa is a shithole and all that. So they are scared they are going to take them to Africa. That is the reason why they are pushing so hard for this delineation process, because a lot of Black Americans have been misidentified by ICE agents. Okay? They have been captured by ICE agents because they think they are Africans. So in order for them to disassociate from Africans, they have to rename themselves. Because a lot of Africans are identifying as African Americans. That is why they are scared. They are like, oh, they don't want to be picked up by ICE, so they misidentify them. That is why.
For a group of people who don't have a culture, y'all are really fighting for your lives to continue to attach yourselves to Black American culture. Granted, a lot of y'all came in, got to know us. We're all melanated people. Some are Afro, some have lineage down the line 10, 20, 30,000 decades ago with Black people in it. But that don't mean y'all are us. And I'm watching these lives on TikTok and I'm just looking like, yo, they're fighting for their lives. I never knew Black Americans had this much power. I knew, but I didn't know. And it's y'all better than us, right? Y'all had y'all flags first. Y'all are this, that, and third. Y'all have y'all islands. Y'all know where y'all come from. Y'all have y'all continents. Whatever. So why do you want to be attached to a group of lost people? That's because our culture is lit and we really are them people. Who won't want to be Black American? For real, for real. Now that's T.
Okay, you guys are like, why are these people so upset why we're delineating? And I think it's really because we really don't understand how much information, resources, and money we're giving away to other communities. Because I think that's the only way that we can't understand why they're freaking out about our delineation. Let's start with the small hats. Do you know how many billions of dollars we make? Ethnic Black Americans spend almost $2 trillion a year. $2 trillion a year. And we see very little of that. We are funding people in the amounts, different cultures and communities, the amount of almost 2 trillion. 2 motherfucking trillion. And then y'all are like, well, why are they so upset we're delineating? 2 trillion. We're almost at $2 trillion of spending, and that's just spending. Of course, people are freaking out because everybody eats off of us. We are supporting different groups in this country with $2 trillion. That is more than most countries' economy. With $2 trillion, we could go and start a whole nother country in another land or in America if we fought and we won and have a thriving economy. So let's get into it. The small hats make billions off of us through music, through sports, through entertainment. You know how many sports agents are small hats that we give all our money to? Do you know how many small hats that use our music, murder music? And if you don't believe me, go listen to 90s music and listen to our music now. That take our music and capitalize off of that. Let's talk about sports. I think I talked about sports. I said sports, music, film, TV, all these things. They make so much money off of us, okay? Let's move on to the Arabs and the Asians who put their businesses in our communities, from the bodegas to the gas stations. Some East Indians are included in that. Some East Indians. They put so much money. I mean, we give them so much money from these corner stores. It's ridiculous. The Asians from, of course, beauty supply stores and, like our nail salons or what have you. And yeah, I go to the Asian beauty supply stores and don't say, Black women, because it's Asian men that run Asian beauty supply stores. So if Asian men run beauty supply stores, then Black men need to invest and start up beauty supply stores for Black women. And I guarantee you Black women will go. If you guys start making Black beauty salons and stuff like that, and they will run efficiently, Black women are coming. Okay. After that, let's think. So the Arabs, the Asians I spoke about or whatever. Oh, the Hispanics. The Hispanics have definitely taken over everybody's jobs or what have you, which we didn't mind at first and we actually were the ones who told them all the information. We told them how to get the job. We told them what to do. We told them where to go. We even hooked them up with some of our people to use their licenses and their contractors, certificates and stuff. Like, we helped all of them get on just for them to turn around and then shut us out. Hispanics come into our neighborhoods. We gave them moved over and shared our neighborhoods with them. Our housing neighborhoods. And all that type of stuff. We told them how to get more information, and they pump us from information all day, every day, and y'all be falling for it because they be buttering us up. Like, hey, Poppy, yeah, I saw you. I saw you the other day. What were you doing? And here you go. Yeah, I was, because they know exactly what you were doing. They just trying to get the information. Oh, I was working on a little job. Oh, they must pay you real good. I know they paying you real good. And here we go. Yeah, they pay me about such and such an hour. And just telling all the business. And then you wonder how all of a sudden Hector shows up out there. You don't know that Hector was talking to the dude you were talking to, and that's his brother or his cousin. And now you have them competing for the same job. And it would not be a problem. None of this would be an issue if it was reciprocated. But the money and the opportunities and the resources and the housing get stripped away. We get erased. If you think you don't have shit, if you think you ain't shit, then you don't know how much you're giving away because you don't value anything you have. Do you know, I remember when hip hop was first becoming like a huge thing. Me and my brother were super into it. And my mom definitely supported it, but she didn't really get into it. And then I had all these uncles and other people trashing it and making fun of it and calling it hood and ghetto, while those small hats pounced on it and made millions and billions and trillions because our community, our parents didn't see the value in their own children, what they were creating. It was too hood. It was too of course, we can't create nothing that's very important. See, once they make you think that you're nothing and that there's everything you do is bad, everything you have is not good enough, or it's not shit. If they try to convince you don't have no kind of money, you're not good enough for that, you're not smart enough for that, you're not talented. The only way you're talented or you're recognized is if you give it to us. If you spend your money with us, if you give it to us, then now it's valuable. And I remember there was a time where ethnic Black Americans wanted to show somebody that they, who was trying to be racist, like, I'll show them by spending a whole bunch of money in their shops. I'm gonna show you by spending a whole bunch of money in your shops. I'm gonna show you by, competing with I'll join a YT company and compete with your YT company to show like, I can do this. And I get it, but we're evolving. We're evolving now. You got Arabs and Asians taking trillions out of your community. The ethnic Black American spends almost $2 trillion per year. $2 trillion per year. That's how much money is going out of our community because we don't keep much of that in our community. They tell you you're poor and they tell you don't have any money. And then because you are funding all these friggin' groups. You're funding Arabs and Asians and Hispanics and the small hats, not to mention the YT. You're funding all these groups, the Africans, the Caribbeans. You are funding all of these groups. No wonder you don't have ish. You don't have ish because we're funding everybody else. We're funding everybody else's success story. And then they turn around and tell you need to work harder. And they turn around and tell you that you don't have it because you're not missing out the opportunities. No, we're not separating. We're not delineating. And we're giving our money and our resources and all of our brain power to other groups. Trying to be nice and kumbaya. And all these people do is you give them a ladder. You show them how to walk up the ladder as ethnic Black Americans. You give your shoulder to help them boost themselves up to get on the ladder. They start climbing up the ladder and you look at them grinning like a fool, and then they pull the ladder up right behind them and look at you like you're the fool, and they're right. And they're right. Because fool me once, yeah. Like, to be compassionate for a certain amount of time is just good-hearted. That's what you're supposed to be as a good person. But after people have shows you time and time again that they don't mess with you, they not reciprocating, they're not going to help you in return, they're going to talk about you like a dog, they're going to call the police on you, they're going to try to take your jobs, they're going to try to move you out of your neighborhoods, and they don't bat an eye, and every time you try to ask for help, they trick you, and you still want to delusionally pretend like these people are for everybody. You got the Jamaicans saying they got hip hop, and you want to say, well, we're still going to, it's not all Jamaican. What? You have a Jamaican man on PBS documentaries on Google trying to say that he started, saying that he started hip hop, and we ain't done nothing about it because it's still in print. It's still in print. I don't care what he's saying. Well, he's saying in the interviews, he's saying in interviews to appease us, but he didn't retract it. He could call Wikipedia and say, I didn't start that. Y'all need to retract my name. Did he do that? No. You got Africans taking over Essence Fest and leaving huge bills and destroying institutions that we built for generations. You know how hard it was for whoever built Essence? I forgot the name. Was it the Johnsons? I'm not sure. But do you know how hard it was for them to make that? For it to be ruined? Come on now. Come on. It's because you all not everybody, but a lot of ethnic Black Americans are still brainwashed. We've all been brainwashed. It's just about how much work have you done to dismantle yourself. We give away $2 trillion every freaking year to other groups. Let that sink in. I'm going to say it again. We give away almost $2 trillion every year to other groups, and then you have the nerve to call yourselves broke and let people call you broke. Yeah, you broke because you're giving all your money away.
Hey y'all, I'm making this video as a Black American to vocalize some of my concerns surrounding the delineation conversation. I found that we have a ton of melanated immigrants and also our own Pan-Africanists that are attempting to hijack that conversation and demonize us in our desire to delineate. They are saying things like delineation is divisive, Black Americans are xenophobic, Black Americans are anti-African, Black Americans hate ourselves, and Black Americans are seeking validation from white people. All of these are baseless accusations that they obviously can't prove, but it's also a form of narcissistic abuse and narcissistic projection, which I do intend to speak on in a later video. Black Americans have found that in order for us to address disparities that exist under the pseudoscientific race construct, we must delineate. Right now, we are being erroneously identified as a homogenous group with melanated immigrants from Africa and the Caribbean, and it has made it impossible for us to gauge how we are doing as an ethnic group. That is the spirit and intention behind delineation. Anything else is a lie in order to control us and a narrative. Thank you.
When you hear Black history, we're not talking about anyone from Africa. We're not talking about anyone from the Caribbean islands. We are talking about foundational Black Americans. That's our history you about to learn and be reminded of. This is the 100th year anniversary of Black History Month. And I hear a lot of divisive language on this app, and I've talked about a lot of different topics on my page. One thing I want to know, and I want to hear from you guys because you love to talk about it so much, is who is Black History Month honoring? It's not honoring no one from the Caribbean islands or Africa or Great Britain. It's us.
And guys, as you can all learn and you can see, like, delineation is not something to do with the blackness. It's not something to do with the color. No, what they are is not even also something to do with the ancestry. No, it is something more deeper. And as I have outlined earlier, like, delineation is whereby now you want to outline who you are or the identity of where you are and of who you are, and by all these definition of who you are, it comes with the identity. Who are you? It comes now with the history. Where have you come from? It comes now, like, it is tied to the culture. Like, what are your ways? What are your ways? What are you doing? What is the lifestyle? What are their cultures? What is it that is defining them? And by combining all this, now you learn why maybe they feel like they are different from others, because the struggles are different. The segregation were different. Yes, and another thing, they fought a lot for the civil rights movement. And guys, I think that is what has made them, or is making them now to feel like they have now, like, to call out for the delineation in United States of America about the Black Americans. And guys, I don't see any hate about this thing. I don't see any place whereby that they want now to be separated, or they want now, like, they don't want to recognize other cultures or other people, but they're feeling like their struggles are different, their culture are different, everything about them is different from the rest. Because if you're a Black African Americans, it means that you have come from somewhere. If maybe you'll be told to go back home, you've got a home now to go to. But not to the Black Americans, that's their home. They don't know any other place to be taken. That's their home. That's the America is their home. And by learning their culture, it is something whereby now people fail to know and to learn that once you learn and once you understand the struggles and the history of the Black Americans, you will just now come back now to realize that these are the modern things what has shaped America to be what it is right now. Because Black Americans, they shaped the history of America by their struggles, by their, and by so many things that they invented, they worked, and they did, and they continue to do the same. And this is their nation. And whereby now you hear or you see other communities that they feel like, okay, I'm a black, but I'm not a black. You have heard such statements whereby many people are coming out and saying like, I'm not black, I am Latino, I'm not black, I'm not black. And what are these phrases? Like, I'm not black, I'm from Africa, but I'm not black. Like, many people fail or tend to not to know the beauty about the blackness, because they fear that blackness, it is something which has been framed with the struggles. They don't want to be related to the struggles these black Americans went through. And that's why now you're seeing them like saying that they are not blacks, they are Latinos, they are not blacks. They are had many like Haitians, they are also still saying the same. They are these Jamaicans where they are feeling like their struggles and their culture, their beings are not are different. Like, if you can see them, you can say, and you can look into them like they feel like they're working more than the black Americans are doing. But now you are failing to understand whereby this is their home, that's where they belong. And by all these, they have been opting for this delineation about themselves. And I don't think it's something which is bad. It's not a bad thing now to outline or to bring to the understanding or to bring to the light of who you are. It's not something like to fight. It's not something even to challenge. It's not something like now to feel like, no, because everyone have a definition. Let them define themselves. Let them come now to define and to outline with them about themselves, because many forget now, like what now many people or many blacks communities or many communities, Asians community, and all this about the racism thing and all this, they fail to understand and to know that if it were not the Americans fighting or doing all these things and being given the policies of the civil rights movement, and by all these that making the policies which are like giving the immigrant the right and even the power to be in their land and to enjoy what they have worked and what they have labored for. People fail to forget about that. People also fail to forget like whatever they are enjoying, how they're saying like they have become rich, they have enriched themselves through in America, whereby now they're blaming or they're complaining like the black Americans are lazy people, they don't want to work, they don't know how to work. But you're failing to remember like what you're doing is an extension of the laborers of these black Americans which have given you this opportunity, and now you have made dollars, you have made riches, you have even make yourself to be so independent financially, and you're like now you have forgotten about all these, and the people that you're building or the country that you're building either Jamaica, you're going back now to Africa to build yourself. So you have gone there just for the green pasture, you have gone there like someone who is just passing by. That's not your land, that's not your country, that's not your home. That is what they feel, and they want to define like, yes, we are so many communities of black people, but black Americans, this is who we are. Black Americans, this is what made us to be together. Black Americans, this is what we are doing. Black Americans, this is what belongs to us. Black Americans, this is our culture. Hip hop is our culture. This is our way of doing things, and nobody should come and question. Nobody should come and dictate who we are and what we have labored for, what we have fought for. And that is what I can feel with them, and that is what maybe they're feeling. As you can hear what the reaction about the black Americans concerning the nation of black Americans. You can hear them very clearly, like they want themselves to be defined and to be respected, because respect is what is lacking in these communities. Like you are gone there and you feel like you are equal. You are not equal. You didn't face the same struggles what these people have gone through. You haven't even gone through the racial thing that these people have been going through. This is a nation whereby they are black and they are white, and by them fighting now to be included to the policies and everyday lives activities, and by this they have just extended their generosity, they have extended their kindness, and now you're taking it for granted. They have extended their kindness and they have welcomed you in United States of America, whereby you have been enjoying. Yes, you have made dollars and a lot of money, you have made a class. Now you now come back and tell them or show them that they don't matter. Surely this is like unwrapping a wound which was already healed, like you're taking them back to where they have come from, and this is what they are all about to do and what they are thinking about. I don't know the consequences if this goes on, or if this happens, like there will be a delineation of black Americans in United States of America. I don't know what to think about the consequences, about the advantages of the advantages of the black Americans and the people who are in America, or disadvantages of the immigrant, of the people that have gone to America now for the green pastures. I don't know whether this separation will be of any good to the black community. Guys, I don't know what now you think about this, and I don't know where it's going. I don't know how you feel about it, and kindly in that comment section, I would love to hear from you. I would love concerning the delineation of black Americans in United States of America. What do you think about this incident? And guys, we'll come back. So kindly keep on subscribing, keep on liking, sharing, and guys, we have really appreciated you. Thank you so much.